Tyler's hands were trembling as he rang the old bell tied to the front porch. The cabin was still, but something felt off, as if the trees were holding their breath. What was supposed to be a simple delivery became something far stranger when he stepped inside and found the photos. Dozens of them, pinned to the walls, each one of him, from different points in his life: walking to school, playing soccer, sitting at his dad's hospital bedside. Moments only someone close or disturbingly distant could capture. He tried to run, but the door slammed shut behind him. Then came a shuffle from upstairs, old wood creaking under heavy steps. Tyler backed into the kitchen, heart pounding, when a frail voice broke the silence. "Tyler, I knew you'd come." The man who appeared from the shadows was trembling too, white-bearded and haunted by regret. "You look like her," he whispered, "like your mother." The name sent a chill through Tyler's spine, because his mother had died years ago, and everyone said her father had died before she was even born. But there he was, alive, hidden, and watching. "I wasn't spying," the man said, showing him old journals and letters. "I was protecting you." From them. Tyler didn't understand from who. Then the man handed him a sealed envelope, and said something that made his stomach drop. "Before she died, your mother discovered something that could get you killed." But just as Tyler reached for the envelope, the window shattered behind them. A rock flew in with a note tied to it. "You were warned. Leave now or he disappears again." Tyler looked up, shaken, but the old man was already gone. 2. Tyler sprinted into the woods, calling out for the old man, but all he found was the torn corner of the envelope the man had handed him. Whatever was inside, proof, secrets, maybe a map, was gone. Back home, Tyler tried to tell his father, but was met with a firm warning. Some things are better left buried. Confused and angry, Tyler returned to the cabin the next day and began digging through what remained. Among scattered belongings, he found a locked drawer beneath the floorboards. Inside was a hidden cassette player, with a tape labeled, "For Tyler, if something happens to me." Hands shaking, Tyler played the recording. It was the old man's voice, calm but urgent, explaining how Tyler's mother had uncovered a corruption ring involving local authorities, a buried scandal tied to missing kids, and a land inheritance scheme. "They silenced her, and they'll come for you," the voice warned, "unless you finish what she started." Tyler followed the clues on the tape to an abandoned post office where old records were stored. Among the dust, he uncovered a photo of his mother and a younger version of the same old man, her father, standing next to a man Tyler recognized. The current sheriff, the same sheriff who arrived at the post office just moments later and said, "You've been busy, kid," with a cold smile. Tyler barely escaped through the back window, hiding the evidence in his jacket, but when he got home, the door to his house was wide open, drawers thrown, furniture overturned. Someone had already been there, and in the center of the table sat a single, chilling message: "You have one more chance to walk away, or your father's next." Ethan froze, his heart slamming against his ribs like it was trying to escape his chest. The man stood at the end of the hallway, silhouetted by the dim light behind him. His eyes, dark and unreadable, were locked on Ethan. For a moment, there was silence, thick, suffocating silence. "You shouldn't be here," the man said, his voice low and calm. To calm. Ethan quickly stepped away from the locked door, the sound of soft sobbing still echoing behind it. "I got lost," Ethan stammered, backing toward the stairs. "I was just looking for the bathroom. I didn't mean to." The man raised a hand, and Ethan flinched, but the man only sighed, adjusting his glasses. "Go back downstairs, now." Ethan obeyed, moving quickly, the wooden stairs creaking beneath his sneakers. Every muscle in his body screamed at him to run, but he knew that any sudden movement might trigger something far worse. Back in the kitchen, the man poured himself a glass of water, acting like nothing had happened. Ethan sat at the edge of a chair, tense, eyes flickering toward the door. "You didn't hear anything," the man said without looking up. Ethan blinked. "Sorry. Whatever you thought you heard upstairs, it wasn't real. The wind messes with this house. Makes it sound like voices." Ethan didn't respond. He could still hear the woman's sobs in his head. They weren't the wind. The man walked over and handed Ethan a thick envelope. "Your tip. More than fair for the trouble." Ethan took it with a trembling hand. He could feel it was stuffed with cash. Way too much for groceries. It felt like hush money. "Thanks," Ethan mumbled. The man didn't move. "Leave now." Ethan grabbed his delivery bag and bolted out the front door, not stopping until he was halfway down the long dirt path that led to the main road. He didn't dare look back. At home, Ethan paced his room, still clutching the envelope. His mom was asleep. His phone buzzed. It was a message from his friend Malik. "Malik, yo, that cabin place paid you yet?" Ethan stared at the phone, then replied, "Ethan, yeah, something's not right there, man." Malik, "Told you. Creepy rich types. You think he's got someone locked in? Ethan hesitated, then typed, Ethan, I heard someone. A woman. Behind a locked door. Malik. Call the cops, but Ethan couldn't. He was just a broke teenager. It would be his word against some rich guy in a gated cabin. Who would believe him? Unless he could prove it. The next day, Ethan borrowed a small audio recorder from his school's media lab and hid it in his delivery bag. He took another order from the cabin. The groceries were already paid for online. This time, he wore a body cam tucked into his jacket, something his YouTuber cousin had given him. The cabin door creaked open when he knocked. The same man stood there, eyes colder than before. You again? Yeah, just doing my job. The man looked him over but stepped aside. Drop them in the kitchen. Ethan did, quickly scanning the room for anything new. Then, the man's phone rang. He stepped into another room to answer. This was it. Ethan crept toward the hallway again. He moved fast, heart racing, pulled the recorder out of his bag and held it near the locked door. Hello, he whispered. Silence. Then, a soft reply. Please, help me. He won't let me out. He lied about who I am. That was all he needed. Suddenly, the floor creaked behind him. He spun around, no one there. He darted back to the kitchen, shoved the recorder into his bag, and waited. The man returned, eyes narrowed. You didn't go upstairs again, did you? Ethan forced a smile. No, sir. Just finished up. The man didn't respond. He simply stared, then handed over another envelope. This one was thicker. Don't come back. Ethan nodded, bolted out the door, and ran until his lungs burned. Back home, he played the recording. The voice was faint but clear enough. Please, help me. He uploaded the file anonymously to a Reddit crime thread, asking for advice. Within hours, it exploded. The post hit the front page. People were outraged. Some claimed to recognize the voice. Commenter 1. That sounds like Emily Cartwright, the heiress who went missing 6 months ago. Commenter 2. She was supposed to be in Europe. Police dropped the case. Commenter 3. Somebody called the FBI. Ethan couldn't believe it. The woman in that room could be someone the world had forgotten. Someone people gave up on. The next morning, Ethan received a private message. Username, Truth Seeker 207. We need to talk. I know who that man is. You're not safe. Ethan replied, and within minutes, he was on a video call with a woman who looked exhausted and scared. My name's Julia Cartwright, she said. That voice on the recording. It's my sister, Emily. I've been looking for her for months. Ethan's stomach twisted. That man. Who is he? Our step-uncle, Edwin Granger. He convinced the courts Emily was unstable, had her declared unfit. But we knew he was lying. She inherited millions. He controls her estate now. If she disappears. Ethan sat in stunned silence. Julia leaned forward. We need proof. Solid proof. If you can get her on camera, I'll get the FBI involved. But be careful. He's dangerous. Ethan knew what he had to do. One more trip. One more risk. He wasn't just some delivery kid anymore. He was the only person standing between a trapped woman and the man who stole her life. That night, Ethan received another grocery order from the cabin. But this time, the instructions included a chilling note. You come alone. No bags, no phones, no surprises. Tyler's fingers trembled as he clutched the edge of the dusty bookshelf. The old cabin had grown darker, colder, and quieter than before. The photos he'd seen showed people who looked like him, his mother, his grandfather, people who had never mentioned this place. The man in the rocking chair upstairs was no ordinary recluse. He was tied to Tyler's past, and Tyler knew it now. He stepped slowly into the study where the fire had gone out, replaced by shadows. The photo of the boy with the scar now rested on the mantel, and Tyler reached for it, but the moment his fingers touched the glass, a loud creak snapped from the ceiling above, and then a deep groan came from the hallway. Tyler turned and saw the man standing again, no longer needing his cane, eyes glowing with something primal. You shouldn't have come back, boy, he said, voice low and harsh. I didn't know this was your home. Tyler stammered. You know more than you think. The man growled and pointed toward the basement door. Down there's where it all started. Down there's where you'll find what you're looking for. Tyler hesitated but opened the door and descended into the dark air, thick with dampness and memory. As his feet touched the bottom step, he saw the outline of a child's wheelchair, broken, dusty, and next to it a box full of hospital files. He pulled one open, and there it was, his name, Tyler Markson, under patient file. But the photo wasn't of him, it was of the boy with the scar, identical to him, but the dates didn't match. Tyler had no memory of this. How could this be? He flipped to another paper, adoption certificate forged, names erased and replaced with his adoptive mother's handwriting behind him. The man's voice echoed again. You were part of the experiment. You were supposed to die like the others. Tyler's breath caught in his throat. He turned to run, but the basement Door slammed shut, locking him in. The last thing he heard was the man's chilling voice, "You want truth? You better be ready to bleed for it." As Alex's scream echoed through the cabin walls, the agent surged forward, flashlights cutting through the darkness and landing on the blood-stained floor where the trapdoor had swung open, revealing a staircase leading down into silence. Alex's breath caught in his throat as Agent Collins grabbed his arm and whispered, "Stay behind me no matter what." The descent felt endless, with every step creaking louder than the last until they reached a dimly lit basement lined with metal cabinets, IV stands, and a bed with restraints. In the corner, Alex's stomach turned as he saw the same grocery boxes neatly stacked on shelves, each labeled with dates and names. The agent's flashlight hit a corner, and there he was, a boy maybe 10 years old, chained by the ankle, thin as a broomstick, eyes wide and glassy. When he saw Alex, he gasped, "Are you real?" Alex nodded, tears already falling. "Yes, we're here to help you. We're getting you out." The agents worked quickly, unlocking the shackle and radioing for backup, as more children's voices echoed from hidden rooms behind false walls. 4 kids in total were pulled from the basement, malnourished, terrified, but alive. Agent Collins turned to Alex with a grim face. "You just blew open a trafficking ring, son, and this is only the start." Alex couldn't speak. The horror of what had been happening under his nose for weeks crashed down on him like a wave. The kind old man, the one with the beard and the limp, he had been running this entire operation under the disguise of a polite hermit who tipped well and smiled often. Alex clenched his fists, guilt rising in his chest. "I should have known. I kept seeing signs, but I ignored them. I just thought he was lonely." Collins put a hand on his shoulder. "That's how they operate. They use normalcy as camouflage, but you trusted your gut. And look what you did. You saved lives." As the cabin was swarmed by federal officers, forensics teams, and medics, Alex stood outside, staring at the sky. Rain starting to fall, mixing with the tears on his face. He remembered every visit, every eerie moment, the way the man always watched him leave until he turned the corner, and how the last delivery had been rushed like the man was preparing to run. Suddenly Collins' radio crackled, "We've got movement in the woods, suspect fleeing southeast." Alex's heart skipped. "That's him. He knows we're here." The agent turned to Alex. "How fast can you run?" Without answering, Alex took off through the brush, his flashlight bouncing in the dark branches, whipping his arms. But he didn't stop. He couldn't stop, not until he saw him there, stumbling through the trees, panting, coat flapping in the wind. The man turned and saw Alex barreling toward him, and for a moment he smiled like he had just seen an old friend. Then he reached into his coat and pulled something small and metallic. Alex ducked instinctively, but instead of a gun, the man held up a tiny key and shouted, "You weren't supposed to find them. Yet I was going to release them. I swear they were never meant to die." Alex tackled him to the ground, fists flying, as the man whimpered beneath him, "You lead to me. I trusted you. I brought you food while you were starving kids in a basement." Collins and another agent arrived seconds later, cuffing the man and dragging him to his feet, blood trickling from his lip, but still smiling like it had all been a test. "You'll never catch the others," he whispered. "I'm just a drop in the ocean." As he was led away, Alex turned to Collins. What did he mean by others? The agent sighed. "He's not the only one. We found encrypted files in the cabin with coordinates, dozens of them scattered across states. We've launched investigations already." Alex felt his knees weaken. "This goes deeper than we thought, doesn't it?" Collins nodded. "But we've cracked it wide open thanks to you." In the weeks that followed, Alex's name appeared on national news headlines as the teen who delivered more than groceries. He delivered justice. The children were reunited with distant family or placed in protective custody. The cabin was torn down and replaced with a memorial bench carved with the names of the rescued kids. Alex visited, often sitting quietly and leaving snacks at the foot of the tree near the old driveway. And while he still carried guilt in his heart, he also carried a fire to keep helping to never ignore his instincts again. And every time he looked into the woods, he could almost hear the whispered thank yous from voices that might never have been heard.